Hi, Democrats. Today is Friday, December 8th, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Live. Happy Friday and happy second day of Hanukkah. All righty, so this has kind of been a busy week. I'm just going to figure out how to go into this. Today is the second day of early voting. If you have something on your ballot on Tuesday, today is the second day of early voting, and I'm pretty sure it's probably the last day of early voting. So if you were planning to vote early, it is 4:20. You only have 2.5 hours left to cast your ballot early. So stop watching me and get over there and cast your ballot. But if you're planning to vote in person, take out your phones right now, set a timer on your phone so that you do not forget, so that Tuesday doesn't get away from you and 7 o'clock comes and you forgot to vote. Now, if you are in Lawton, it is imperative that you show up on Tuesday and vote for Larry Bush. This gives us one more senator. And gets us closer and closer to some balance in our legislature. This gives us one more, and it helps us build momentum to take all of Lawton. So if you're going to vote early for Larry, you got a couple hours. Go out and do that. If you are going to vote on Tuesday, set an alarm on your phone so that you don't forget. But whatever you do, do not forget, if you're in Lawton, to go and cast your vote for Larry Bush. Folks have done a lot of work. Larry is a worthy candidate of your support. He is a businessman. He is a decent human being. He is worth your support, and he's been working really hard, and so many people have poured into him. Let's make it count. Okay, so please don't forget to vote. If you live in Oklahoma City, the arena vote is on Tuesday, and I think you can vote early through the rest of today. Go cast your vote. However you're going to vote on the arena. I live in Tulsa, so I don't have a dog in that fight. But cast your vote. Every vote counts, be it for an arena, for or against an arena, be it for an addition to the Senate. You got to show up every time. Because when you don't show up, or when you sit a certain vote out, or when you cast a protest vote, we end up with the default. We end up of the choice of the people who are fighting to show up and vote. I'm not going to go into the folks who have set an alarm so that they could vote for number 45 again. I'm not even going to go down that trail. All you got to do is turn on the news, and everybody is talking about that. But on a local level, right? We talked yesterday about the successful petition effort that is going to get a recall on the ballot in Enid for the I'm going to call him person who acts like a white supremacist. To get him recalled off of the city council there and in Enid. But that's what happens when folks did not vote for city council. They just ignored city council and they let this guy get on the ballot. And thank you for the folks who were paying attention and who continue to pay attention even after the election and are doing the work. It's important that we show up and we participate every single time. Let's look at Congress. Right now, the Republicans hold a majority. It's a slim majority in Congress. And they are doing things like relitigating the election, threatening to impeach Biden on old things. Not going to start the new fight, but on old things that aren't real things. They undid Roe versus Wade. Now they don't know what to do with. Yeah, they don't know what to do with it. They aren't doing the things that are benefiting the American people. They've just turned into, and I hate that I'm getting ready to quote Kevin McCarthy, but they have become the party of grievance over governance. They're not trying to govern. They're just whining and complaining about things. And what's interesting about our Congress. And here's the thing, with McCarthy quitting, because McCarthy has announced that he's quitting, yay, the Republican lead is down to 3. All it takes is someone to get the sniffles, someone's plane to be delayed for them to no longer have the majority. But what if we sent more Democrats to Congress? What we need to do is concentrate on helping folks who are running for Congress right now. Pick a congressional candidate to support. Pick a congressional candidate to support. Pick a local candidate to support, and pick a statewide candidate to support. State House, State Senate. And that support can come in the form of talent, time, treasure. If all you have time to do is make phone calls, that will help them. If you're too shy to knock a door, but you'll drive, that will help them. If you're too busy to do any of those things and you are able to donate, that will help them. But pick a couple. Pick a couple to help. If you can't do any of those, share their social media and make sure that you tell people about them. Make sure that you talk about them as much as you can, because all of those things help. Now back to Congress. We've got to change who represents us in Congress. We just have to. They've gotten to DC and they've forgotten about Oklahoma. When the Biden administration proposed ideas that would help with roads and broadband in Oklahoma, all 5 of our congressional members voted against it. But when they got pushed through anyway, and we are getting money on building affordable housing, for expanding our broadband access, they're bragging about it. They said no, but they're bragging about it. They won't show up for the photo op because it has Biden's name, but they're absolutely bragging about it and talking about how they serve in Congress and Congress approved those dollars, even though they voted against it. We need folks who will vote for Oklahomans, not get to DC and vote with their party, but vote for Oklahomans. And while we're at it, we need folks who look like Oklahomans. We need folks who look like all of Oklahoma. And I've been saying this for years, but the former Speaker of the House said it best in this video.
I go into the State of the Union. And in the State of the Union, one side stands up and the other side stands up. And I just become leader and I'm excited and President Trump's there. And I look over at the Democrats and they stand up. They look like America. We stand up. We look like the most restrictive country club in America. And
he said it. And he said it about his party. But it's true. It's true. Every election year, I get bombarded by the press about why there isn't enough diversity in our state legislature. Every election year, I get calls about the lack of diversity in our state legislature. And in 2022, I decided to ask the question, look at my side of the aisle and look at the other side of the aisle. My side of the aisle has 90% of the diversity. 90% of the diversity is represented by Democrats. He said it. We need to be mindful of who we're electing. We need to be mindful. So I wanted to talk about that. I need to show that clip because it hit me so broadly, because I've been saying it for years and you guys have seen it. But now let's talk about the presidential race. You know, I've been pushing this conversation off a little bit because I really want us to focus on Oklahoma races. But yesterday, I had the honor of attending the ballot order selection process put on by the state election board. So I went down to the state election board. They had all of the names of the candidates, you know, in a receptacle, we're going to call it. And someone was pulling them out. And that is literally how it is decided what order candidates show up on the ballot. It's not alphabetical. It's not based on who turns their application in first. It is really literally drawn so that it is random. And so for the Democrats, there are six candidates that are going to be on your ballot on March 5th. 6 Democrats that are going to be on the ballot on March 6th. And so they were pulled out of the receptacle one by one. And if you want to know the order, I'm going to encourage you to go out to okdemocrats.org, click on our candidates, and you will see the folks who have filed and who will officially be on the ballot for president in the primary on March 5th. So I want to show you that real quick. So this is what it looks like. And this is the order that they were drawn. President Biden, Marianne Williamson, Sink Uger, Steve Lyons, Armando Perez Serrano, and Dean Phillips. I can't see that. I have to think of them off the top of my head. So that's who will be on the ballot on March 5th. Now, tell everybody you know, because as I went on the bus tour, I dealt with a deluge of folks saying that President Biden was keeping other Democrats off the ballot. There are other Democrats on the ballot. Do your research. I think you all know who I'm voting for, but do your research. These are the other candidates that will be on the ballot. And these are the candidates that will be on the ballot on March 5th. Save that date. March 5th is when we narrow down our presidential selection to 1, right? So it's March 5th. There will be 6 Democrats on the ballot. So we can squash the myth, the rumor that President Biden was keeping other Democrats off the ballot. I heard it. I heard it nationally and I heard it locally. Not true. All righty. So one last thing on a local level. I want to call it a voucher scheme, but I probably shouldn't. I should probably call it the school tax credit. School choice tax credit, I think is what they're calling it. It won't stick in my brain because I know it to be a voucher scheme. Well, the portal went live. The portal went live 2 days ago. And when I say the portal, this is where parents whose children are enrolled in private school can go out and request a tax credit between $5,000 and $7,500 per student, right? And so there are a lot of parents who rushed and are sending their kids to private school counting on this tax credit. I talked about this earlier this week where the governor bragged and crowed about how he and his wife were going to sign up even though they are millionaires. And then he got a lot of public pressure, and decided not to. But that did not slow down the traffic to the site. The site went live on Wednesday, December 6th. And within the first hour and a half, 30,000 people applied. 30,000, I guess it's really 30,000, the parents of 30,000 students, I think is the way to say that, applied for the tax credit. Well, that far exceeds the amount that we allotted for the tax credit. Now, what they're saying is they know that exceeds, but some folks' applications may not be accepted. Some folks' applications may not be completed. So they wanted to make sure that the portal stayed open so that they could fulfill. But that happened in the first hour and a half. That was a work day. That was a Wednesday morning work day. What if you have a job where you can't be off worrying about your enrolling your kids in this thing that you needed to do it after work? You were out of luck because in the first hour and a half, it was locked up. So once again, this is a credit meant for everyone, but the rollout of it, the tailoring of it, the structure of it really seems to be focused on getting a certain group of people in. If you wanted to get your scholar in, I hope you were successful. It just doesn't sound like it was set up for all scholars. And that's where we are. You guys have a wonderful weekend. I'll be back here Monday at 4:15.
I go into the State of the Union. And in the State of the Union, one side stands up and the other side stands up. And I just become leader, and I'm excited, and President Trump's there. And I look over at the Democrats, and they stand up. They look like America. We stand up. We look like the most restrictive country club in America.